the virtual events marketing manager for Kneat Solutions, one of our events team here. We're really glad that you could join us for another one of our Kneat webinars. I know it's been a while as we've been transitioning from the summer into the fall, but we're really glad to have you here today. Thank you for joining us. We'll hear a little bit from one of Kneat's own experts on better validation practices for CDMOs and their customers. So we're really excited to get into it. Now, if you have joined us, or even if you haven't joined us before, welcome back and welcome in. Want to go over a few housekeeping items here for the webinar. To the right of your video screen, you should see some engagement options for you there. We've got 3 different panels you can choose from. The first one being your chat window. That's how you can engage with us. You are on listen-only mode. You're just watching the webinar for today. We won't hear from you verbally. We won't see you, but we do encourage you to type in the chat. Right now, we've got a question there. Let us know where you're tuning in from. We'd love to hear where our global audience is, how everyone is doing today. What's the weather like near you? Hopefully, if you are in Florida or the Southeast US, you are safe, comfortable, warm, and dry. I know the hurricane out there is pretty terrible. But we, again, thank you for taking the time in here. We have the chat. We also have the poll tab in there. That poll will be running an interactive poll. It should be up now. You can answer it now, telling us where you are on your journey to digitizing validation. We like to just engage our audience, see where you're at. It helps us determine what level of thought leadership we should put into our presentations. Let us know where you're at. We'll come talk about that in a few minutes and get your answers in real time, see where you're at. But that really helps us tailor the content to speaking to our audience. And finally, the last button we have on there is the Q&A. We're going to go through our presentation here in just a moment, but we'd love to hear all of your questions. We'll take as long as we can at the end of the webinar to answer as many questions as we can from you, our live audience. If we're not able to get to all of your questions, don't worry. We will follow up with you. We'll have a Kneat representative reach out and answer your question as long as you have your name on it. So if you're not asking anonymously, we'll reach out and be able to answer your question, even if we're not able to get to it live today. At the end of the webinar, we'll have a short survey for you to fill out. We really appreciate in advance if you're able to fill that out for us. Again, it helps us determine what content to bring to you next. It asks your suggestion for future topics you'd like to hear from, and it just helps us improve our webinar program as we keep going. We're looking at building out our programs for 2025 already in Q1 and Q2. So don't miss your chance to really suggest topics that you want to hear coming up soon. And of course, we always appreciate your feedback. So if you want to give us more feedback, you want to hear more about Kneat as a company, Kneat Gx as a software, or just get in contact with us, you can always email us at info@kneat.com. That's info@kneat.com. And your feedback is super important to us. So we hope you do reach out if you have anything you'd like to let us know. Quick copyright and disclaimer statement here for Kneat Solutions. And we'll get to our agenda. So today I'm really happy to be joined by Mo Brar. Mo Brar is no stranger to our Kneat webinars, having joined us a couple times before, and he is one of Kneat's own expert process engineers. I will let him get into his bio, his background in a moment. Just want to go through what you can expect to hear from today. So I'll start off talking a little bit about Kneat as a company and Kneat Gx as a software platform. But don't worry, I know you're not here for an ad or any sales pitch, so I'll make that brief. Just want you to know, if you're unfamiliar with who we are, we want you to know who we are. Then we'll hear from Mo about CDMO validation challenges, compliance, cleaning validation, CQV, commissioning, qualification, and validation, streamlining validation and production for CDMOs, preventing document errors, and effectively managing extensive and detailed validation documents. There's a lot of info in there, so I'll try to be quick and hand over to Mo just a moment. But I mentioned that poll, and I want to hear from you, want to see your results on where you are on your journey to digitizing validation. So if you haven't already, click on that poll tab to the right of your video screen and answer our question. Let us know where you are on your journey. Looks like we've got some answers in here already. About 50% of people are about to launch, option C. So that is great to know. 0% are starting today. So we're all talking to some people who are knowledgeable about digital validation. They've heard about it before. At the very least, you're familiar with it. About 33% now, things are shifting, are in initial discovery, getting some preparation done, some discussions done. Oh, there's one person who starts today. Perfect. And another 20% considering how to scale. So that is great. I see a lot of responses still coming in here. So I'm going to leave that open for a bit. Things are continually shifting, but we're sitting in there in that B to C range, the initial discovery, and maybe about to launch your first digital validation project. That is a great place to be for today's content. So you'll be in a good place. And if you're considering how to scale, still a good place to be. And if you're just starting today, you might hear some terms, some thoughts, some ideas that are a bit involved in digitizing validation, but that'll let Mo know that he's talking to some folks who are just getting their start and some folks who are experienced in digitizing validation. So that is great. Again, if you want to know more about digital validation, more about Kneat Gx, you can always reach out to us, schedule a one-on-one demo. And at the end of our presentation, I'll talk about some events coming up that you can hear more about us either in person or virtually. But I want to talk about Kneat as a company and Kneat Gx as a product first. Kneat is a global organization. We're headquartered in Ireland, in Limerick, Ireland, but we have operations all around the world. Myself, I'm coming from the US. I believe Mo is as well, but we have staff all over the world throughout Europe, on several different continents. And so we are truly a global company with operations continually 24/7 around the globe. We are publicly listed on the Toronto Stock Exchange and not only hold ourselves to a high governance of standard, but we hold the whole company to that standard of being a publicly traded company. Now, we do tote that we are the validation platform of choice for 8 of the top 10 life science companies around the world, including 3 of the 4 COVID-19 vaccine manufacturers. And there is no better case study for needing to get something on market right first time and quickly than those vaccines. But not only them, we have 40,000 plus users in the Kneat software as a service platform, 100 plus customers across 350 plus locations, and 40 plus certified global partners that work with us to bring our solutions to other companies as well. And I highlight all of those pluses because those are important. We are constantly growing. We are a growing company, and we're always looking for places to move into, partners to work with, and customers to get set up with digital validation solutions. All of our development for Kneat Gx, our software as a service, is done in-house. There's no outsourcing anywhere, and that is for quality assurance of our own product, to make sure that we're giving you the best product you can and to keep everything secure. We take security very seriously since we're dealing with a lot of data for a lot of companies over the cloud. We are ISO 9001 2015 and ISO 27001 certified. We keep those certifications up to date and take our security very seriously. So that's Kneat as a company. Kneat Gx, if you're unfamiliar with it, I've already mentioned, is a software as a service validation lifecycle management platform that digitizes validation, your validation of manufacturing, of goods, of whatever validation project you have from end to end, enabling regulated companies to make validation easier, faster, and smarter. All of that is to say, we take all of the paper that used to be involved in validation processes, where you were writing down tests, results, data, getting signatures signed off, validated, verified. All of that is now digital. You can access it from any device that has an internet connection anywhere you are in the world with your secure login credentials. You can pull it up on your phone, a tablet, computer. All of that means that it's easily searchable, it's easily legible. You can trace those signatures back to where they need to be, and you can find everything at the touch of a button and be audit ready at any time. No more storing warehouses and reams and binders and boxes of paper for years and years on end. Everything is now in the cloud. So that is what Kneat Gx does. And Kneat Gx is trusted by 8 of the world's top 10 life science companies because it is one platform that works for any work process. It eliminates 100% of paper and paper-based challenges from the validation lifecycle, and it's proven to reduce cycle times, labor hours, validation costs, and increase right first time and speed to market. It's easy to use, easy to train, easy to scale, and like I mentioned, it's audit ready at any time. But those aren't just things that we say. You can look at our case studies online at Kneat.com after the webinar. Please go check out those case studies, and you can always get more information by emailing us at info@Kneat.com. Now that the sales pitch is done, now that you are familiar with Kneat and Kneat Gx, I want to get to our featured presentation today. So I'll move on here. I am very excited to welcome Mo Brar back to Kneat's Insights webinar. Mo, like I mentioned, is one of Kneat's own expert process engineers. He joined us before to talk about a variety of topics, but we're happy to have him back for this one. Mo, thank you so much for joining us. Tell us a little bit about yourself for those unfamiliar.
Thank you, James, for having me. Can you everybody hear me all right?
Loud and clear.
Excellent. I'm Mo Brar. I'm a Kneat process engineer. I've been with Kneat for almost 3 years now. I have a graduate degree in chemical engineering. I've got almost half a decade in terms of pharma experience, a CDMO, and almost 8 years of experience overall. I've worked in contract development and manufacturing organizations for with processes up to $3 million, from process development to process validation, cleaning validation. So I'm definitely well versed and knowledgeable in terms of the challenges that CDMOs face and the solutions that we definitely wish to could had in terms of Kneat when I was working in my previous companies. So, from a CDMO overview, CDMO is a contract development and manufacturing organization. So, CDMO, some are just CMO, but well, from a purpose of relevancy, we'll discuss CDMOs. So, it's a company that provides comprehensive services to pharmaceutical companies. Again, they can cover drug development and manufacturing. I specifically work with APIs, active pharmaceutical intermediates, which are just precursors to drugs. So, uh, we would develop customers' processes from different stages of their life cycle. I've worked in terms as a process engineer. We would assist customers from a technology transfer, of course, manufacturing at different scales, and then of course a chemist, supporting a chemist in terms of 1 to 2 gram scale studies in the lab to develop the process. Because certain things you can do in the lab, you can't do it in the plant. From a filtration point of view or decanting, again, some of these things will not make sense in a 100 kilo or a 50 kilo batch in a plant. So again, having that reactor train, having those calculations is important from an engineering point of view. So some of the services the CDMO provide, as well as drug development and API manufacturing, they can also support regulatory in terms of from a compliance and submission to meet all their necessary standards from a customer, and of course clinical trial support as well from different stages of trials. So some of the reasons why CDMOs are important: cost efficiency, right? They can allow pharmaceutical companies to avoid high costs of building and maintaining their own manufacturing facilities. So you can CDMOs have a lot of reactors, equivalent reactors to be able to run a lot of different processes. They have a lot of reagents to change over clean, perform cleaning validation to ensure one process is ready to run after another process is run. And they have a diverse set of clients that help that need to be manufactured in different scales and different potencies. And of course, they offer expertise. Again, they deal with so many different processes, so many different customers. They know how to navigate the complex API and drug and development and the manufacturing challenges. And it's a fast-paced culture where you're troubleshooting and developing, and you're working cross-functionally. So they need to have that flexibility in terms of the scheduling and certain different plants and different equipment. So ultimately, a CDMO is going to both minimize risk for the contracting organization and accelerate time to market. Some of the challenges I noticed that CDMOs face: they must adhere to stringent regulatory compliance requirements. Again, FDA requirements, from an audit perspective, being audit ready, and even customers can come and audit us as well, and as well as the FDA. So one of the features we'll take a look at would be like collections, which are there specifically dedicated for being able to handle customer audits or FDA audits. It's like having a war room essentially, where you can have dedicated documents that you only want to share that that are approved and in its final state that makes sense. Ensuring that equipment is properly cleaned to prevent cross contamination through a cleaning validation. Of course, as an engineer, process engineer, I used to work on calculations for cleaning validation as well as MACOs. MACO is a maximum allowable carryover, so it's based on toxicological data from um, different batches, right? You have one batch that's from a different customer, another batch entering into the same equipment from another customer. You have to take into account the surface areas, the toxicological information in terms of maximum dosage, um, and the related calculations to be able to. Batch size is another one. There's a variability in terms of things to take in consideration from setting the limits to what level of cleanliness can we have before from a cleaning point of view that uh, meets that requirement to be able to have one process go in, and what other process can go in after that if there's certain dosage requirements. So frequent equipment changes in processes from a CQB point of view. Sometimes equipment fails. Sometimes you need to have an equivalent equipment from a reactor train point of view. If have a rupture disk go, or have other equivalent qualified reactors to be able to use in place. And requirements need to be adjusted for customer specific templates, processes, and standards. So of course, different levels of impurities or purity, or different types of assay or other requirements a customer might have need to adjust according to those. Again, expectation that we'd meet the customer's ability to produce a product and in their time frame that they'll need it, and the quantity in which they would need it as well. So of course, quality control and assurance, again, maintained across all stages of a GMP process is expected. And of course, data management for detailed validation documentation. We used to have a QA building that was filled with a lot of batch records and cleaning validation, other type of records, and they had to scan them in. And it was a slow process. When you had to look, when you had to find something, it was just stacks of papers. When I remember having an entire building dedicated from a QA point of view. And of course, CDMOs, they're a for-profit company. They want to make money, so having to balance their cost efficiency while maintaining their high quality standard is going to be always important as well as compliance. So from a regulatory compliance, Kneat helps in terms of the 21 CFR Part 11. So from audit trails to electronic records and electronic signatures, as well as from digital access 24/7. So audit readiness, automatic audit trails, are amazing in terms of automatically recording any changes that are being done in terms of the inside of Kneat. Again, allow for easy paperless handover, and of course simplifies the audit process and be able to perform those remotely. So the data integrity compliance point of view, password protected signatures, and of course the audit trails are comprehensive and taken within the system from a transparency and accountability point of view as well. And of course, compliance with the ALCOA principles as well. So again, adhering to the ALCOA principles, meaning the acronym of attributable. The data is attributable, legible, contemporaneous, occurring when it's you're writing it down when it occurred, original and unaltered. Guarantees data accuracy, completeness, comprehensive, consistency, and of course enduring and preserved, and it's readily available again with that 24/7 access. And again, some of these components you wouldn't even need to think about because it's a digital, um, done digitally from a legibility point of view. You've got a font that really nobody. It's not going to have a variability from a handwriting point of view. So again, continuing on the regulatory compliance point of view, not only 21 CFR Part 11, but also EMA Annex 11 regulation as well. And of course, beyond the ALCOA principles, of course, having the automated timestamps for clear audit trails, and of course, data encryption for security. And again, having the records and signatures be considered trustworthy or reliable, and equivalent to paper records, is important as well. So some of the things you'd see directly inside a Kneat would, having Kneat's already built in from a executor point of view as well as a witness. We recognize GMP processes. You're gonna need a witness to ensure that you're maintaining the GMP requirements. So these are what really easy to put in because we're expecting it. You're gonna expect that somebody's gonna execute it and somebody else is gonna witness it. And there's even toggles to enable to ensure that the witness is not the person that's executing, and of course to ensure that we're meeting this current good manufacturing requirements and being compliant. And having the person that when performing it, you get all the full timestamps. You get the signature with the name, username, date, UTC timestamp. You also can have a configurable local time zone if that's a good fit. So from an audit's point of view, this is what I mean from for collections. That's the new Kneat feature we've recently put in. This is for auditors. This is for customers, and there's an auditor access group as well, where they go in there and you only put in, it's like an audit war room essentially. You only put in approved content that allows you to share with the auditor, uh, and it separates it from the workspace on other unapproved content that you wouldn't want an auditor to see. This is going to allow you to control the content that you present to your auditor or to your customers. That's only relevant to them, that you'd want in an approved state that you'd want them to see. So, importance of cleaning validation in a CDMO, just to reiterate some of the main points, of course, from a compliance point of view and necessary in terms of equipment being properly cleaned and free of contaminants before you can have another batch go in there. Because with CDMO, you have so many different processes and so many different products being made, they're not necessarily compatible or um, so. CDMOs must adhere to regulatory compliance requirements. So again, preventing those cross contamination, setting limits that are sensible based on toxicological data. You've got maximum dosage, you've got batch size, you've got equipment surface area as some of the things that need to take into consideration. Um, and similar equipment reactor trains would have similar surface areas, so that is easier to account for. But the variability can really come in from like a maximum daily dosage point of view, and um, like the solvent that's being used as well. So again, cleaning validation is a critical step in maintaining product quality and, of course, protecting patient safety. It needs to be reproducible, so you be able to have consistent output of the level of cleanliness, and again, meeting those set limits in terms of acceptable residue limits, and ensure documenting every step and from an effectiveness point of view. So, needing Kneat in terms of benefiting cleaning validation, again, having that automated workflow. When you need to perform particular cleaning validation, being able to have those protocols, being able to those the reports being able to automatically generate is a huge time saver and can really benefit a lot in terms of working on what you actually need to be working on from the simplifying from an operator's point of view, executor of what type of cleaning validation do you need and what type of documentation do you need, having that automatically created, auto number, auto name, everything, and having it have that be from a templated approach that already has 70% of it done, because your templates again they can be have that already structured in there. So real-time monitoring allows you to look at cleaning validation activities and track progress and compliance in real time. Standardized protocols, again, you'll be able to set protocols, cleaning validation protocols across different sites as well as projects. So again, it allows you to have those uniform practices as well as retaining the compliance. Centralized data repositories, again, it needs a cloud-based storage. So again, you could have it's secure, and you can have it in a centralized, easily retrievable, accessible, again, wherever you are from a remote review point of view and access. So compliance and data integrity, robust data integrity in terms of regulatory, and of course password protected signatures, automatic timestamps, and having that comprehensive automated audit trails ready for use. Efficiency and documentation management, and as previously mentioned, a potential to reduce validation cycle times by up to 50%. Again, having those online test executions, remote approvals, as again automated workflows go a long way in terms of saving time, and again reducing errors, and especially in terms of human errors and other issues that could in terms of common documentation errors and avoiding non-compliance. And of course, streamlining processes in terms of working with technology transfers and electronic batch records, as an example, and of course, audit readiness, as discussed before, from a paperless handover and for customers as well as auditors. So one useful feature that works with cleaning validation that is sort of a hidden gem really is that being able to export to Excel. So if you have our table, working on when as a process engineer, we'd have an Excel for our changeover cleanings, MAKO's maximum allowable carryover, and be able to have this data be able to export directly into an Excel and perform certain calculations is very useful. This is where we perform our calculations for all the equations they be built into Excel. So being able to pull out your tables from Kneat and directly have those be put into an Excel document. You can share it, you can attach it. It's very useful, and again it's basically intuitive to use. After that, you've got it in Excel. You can use some reagents. You can multiply for calculations. You can use statistical analysis, even for continuous process verifications for different batch sizes and purities. Drop it into Minitab for other types of analysis, data analysis, or visualization. And it's a useful tool for, I think, cleaning validation when you need to start performing certain calculations that you can just don't need to worry about copy and paste and having to have errors there. So importance of CQV and CDMO. So again, commission qualification and validation is a critical step in terms of facilities and equipment and processes meeting a regulatory standard. Of course, CQV helps to mitigate those, identify and mitigate risk associated with manufacturing. Again, I've had reactors fail and had needed to use equivalent reactors, and ensuring that when you're performing a particular process validation or cleaning validation, you need to ensure you're in qualified equipment to be able to proceed. And of course, CQV can help CDMOs reduce their operational costs and improve efficiency without compromising quality. So some of the things that again Kneat can benefit is in terms of a risk assessment tool, so which is paired in with a requirements traceability matrix. You can enable a risk assessment which can highlight certain requirements that are at a higher or lower risk and help you to monitor those in that sense to help identify and mitigate those risks. Similar to cleaning validation, you've got that have that automated workflow where you're performing certain qualification activities or validation activities for a particular equipment. As an example, you can launch specific documents in an electronic binder that has, it starts with particular templates. And again, you've already 70% of the way there, adding in smart properties, having those things auto number, auto name. Hugely convenient when you start doing it. No way you can go back when you start doing it. So, and again, efficiency and speed. By streamlining validation processes, again, it can significantly reduce those validation times, as I was mentioning, in terms of online execution, of course, remote approvals. So, of course, data management, have again cloud-based, so be able to access it anywhere is extremely valuable. And of course, needing to be adaptable, right? CDMOs have many different customers with many different needs. To be able to adapt across different processes, different standards is going to be important. And of course, allowing for a systematic approach across different equipment and processes and regulatory standards. So, of course, from a cost, efficiency, and scalability point of view, of course, by automating and digitizing validation and compliance processes, Kneat can help CDMOs in terms of reducing their operation costs and improving their efficiency. And you don't need there's no without that compromise of quality. And of course, Kneat can allow for that scalability for CDMOs for in terms of their operations across different sites, different nearby or across the world, even really to remain compliant and continue to grow and have that harmonization of their procedures across different locations. So again, just to sort of reiterate and summarize sort of the main points on the cleaning validation CQV side, again, helping reduce those cycle times with online execution, remote approvals, and of course having those automated workflows, launching those electronic binders with their necessary documents automatically named and numbered and already starting from templates. So enhancing process efficiency, of course. And then again, paper-based CQV and cleaning validation activities, they cannot keep up with the ability to leverage digital validation. CQV and cleaning validation can be streamlined by over up to 50%, eliminating steps and, of course, allowing to perform concurrent execution, review and approval in real time. Human error is mitigated, and of course, data entry simplified, compliance enhanced across all stages, and of course, documents are more easily stored, transferred, edited, and of course, retrieved. So, how to avoid common documentation errors? So again, we've got automated data transposition. So again, from a document importing point of view, and of course, pushing and pulling data between documentation can help. And of course, this helps to reduce user errors and sort of the data tampering side of things, because everything has got that audit trail stamping. Pre-approved templates help to ensure that consistency and accuracy from a document creation point of view. Because when you have an electronic binder, each document reference in that electronic binder reference in a pre-approved template. So you've already have that structured, approved, and created beforehand. And again, this helps further minimize those risks of error. So again, dynamic data sharing allows for the real-time data sharing and collaboration, and of course ensures team members to have up-to-date information and audit trail, track all changes, updates to documents, and reiterate that component of remote review and approvals. So technology transfers, they need when a CDMO has a new customer. Again, they provide a technology transfer of all their documentation, their processes, and have the company has to basically internally perform their process to ensure that they can do it at a 1-2 gram small scale. So having that centralized documentation can be very valuable in terms of all their validation documentation diagrams, easily accessible. Of course, digital testing if you need to perform any lab scale testing to ensure recording and sharing with the customer, it makes it easier, of course. Again, real-time view and approval. If the customer wants to view what's going on, if they want to see where the process is, and be able to see those, access those, and approve them if needed. It makes it easier. And of course, our audit trails, as we were mentioning, again, logs all user actions, corrections, and changes with corresponding timestamps. Configurable workspace is a unique one where you can generate documents, manage deviation, and so forth. But it's all for a particular customer or a particular project. So it allows you to have that sort of partition between customers, between projects. So that customizability allows you to have that organization for your need from a site perspective or a process or project or even customer to tailor that environment to in terms of streamlining your workflow and having all the relevant documents there and tasks to be easily accessible. Again, this can help across even with different workspaces and helping to promote that consistency and harmonization across projects and teams. So master templates. This is where I was mentioning when every sort of electronic binder, that document pack you'd launch for any particular validation equipment or otherwise, they all reference these master templates that are you already they're about give you 60-70% of the content is already there. They're pre-approved. So again, these you can obsolete them if they're no longer relevant. You can edit them or uprev them as needed. So this would be restricted to the technical team members. Of course, everybody can collaborate in real time. Again, the ability to obsolete certain things that get referenced in those electronic binders that the protocol executor would use is very valuable and allows you to have that additional back end granularity control. So can create a pack of the records of a process, as you were mentioning, the electronic binder, into a container. So and that those documents should share smart properties within each other to help to expedite the drafting process as well. So, from an electronic batch record point of view, transitioning from paper to digital, again, it helps to enhance that efficiency and compliance, reduces that reliance on physical documentation. As I was mentioning, when I used to work in a CDMO, our QA offices, would just stacks of batch records or validation records. Again, it'd be really onerous to find things, and it was a slow process from a QA perspective as well. So again, accuracy in terms of recording from data, Kneat would help to ensure all the data is accurately recorded and facilitates easy retrieval. Of course, a reduction of errors and non-compliance minimizes the risk of human errors, and of course improves the adherence from regulatory standards as well. So some of the things that having electronic batch record would help in terms of the challenges with CDMO, again, streamlining those workflows. Having access worldwide is pretty useful because I know I've had some certain companies you have different sites across the world and be able to um, improve that level of communication and collaboration and reduce those wait times from a document control or QA and other departments. Real time data updates and reviews, better regulatory compliance, easy to use and configure, and it's good to go. And of course, create, review, execute batch records or any type of validation, as well as archive end to end, all inside of Kneat. So again, also from a challenging point of view, that can be having those SOP accessibility as well. You have a particular batch record that has a reference to a specific work instruction or a specific SOP. Be able to have those operators readily access that during an operation is really valuable. Sometimes, again, if they've got a lot of personal protective equipment on and they're entering up the plant, and maybe they don't. You've got a new employee who hasn't been trained on a certain step or a process, or you're doing an old process a new way. Be able to access these with a click of inside your batch record is really valuable, rather than having them to leave that production bay or plant, take off all their personal protective equipment, go to the control room, print off those SOPs, then put on all the equipment again. Right? It's a really slow process. Being able to have those just a click away is extremely valuable. Having those readily accessible again facilitates the easier management, even operation and execution of those. And this is what it would kind of look like inside if you've got easily to be able to access, what that work instruction or SOP number is, what the names what that name would be. Maybe you're looking at a reactor and plant equipment or batch records, and be able to just click on it right inside of Kneat and be able to go to that SOP or work instruction and be able to read it right inside there. You don't have to while you're executing a step, and then going to be able to navigate back like, all right, well, this is now I know what I need to do. So just having this, it's going to be in a PDF format, and what type of project it applies to, and so forth. And some of the things we just don't recognize. each section is an infinite page. You never be, one of the batch records I was working on previously was there it was is that we're performing troubleshooting. It's in the early stages, again, new process, and operations was having issues in terms of one operation, and they had to put many footnotes, and we had footnotes everywhere on one particular page. And you really recognize the limitation of paper, and from a legibility point of view, from a space point of view, in Neat, each section is functionally an infinite page. So if you're, for example, a batch record or a cleaning validation or anything, you can have one unit operation in there, or you can have 10, or you can have 100. The limit, there isn't a limitation like you would have in physical paper. And having 1 or 10 or 100, there's not a weight requirement either. When you're looking at paper point of view, printing a lot of documents or having a big barrel full of documents to be able to execute those, or losing things, that's not going to be a worry here. So the infinite page is, it's nuanced, but it's really valuable when you actually recognize that it's there if you need it. So, and this is sort of what it looks like when you've got a log, or you're launching a particular project. You get to select from one of your. In this case, we're doing, for example, a deployment. Maybe we do an additional process, or a new, from a deployment point of view, additional process. This allows for a systematic approach, and then it launches a suite of documents for you. Everything's auto numbered and named. It's all structured, and gives you status of when you later on when you're working on it. And this is all referencing templates, so you're like 60-70% already done. They've got smart properties in here that share between each other. And of course, we've got this based on a project number. Again, this allows for a systematic approach to minimize errors with real-time visibility and collaboration for simultaneous document updates. Again, as I mentioned, it launches a suite of documents that reference templates that are automatically named and numbered. Allows you to use those smart and dynamic properties for each document. And because it's templates, you're utilizing templates, it's got a consistency and harmonization across different projects and teams, and all for that digital execution, as well as deviation management. And we'll upload that evidence directly. So again, I think, again, huge use here. So, in a whole nutshell, so again, Kneat can add that value in terms of reducing both risk and costs, help you to bring a speed to market, protect quality, of course, enable global standardization, maintain that compliance and productivity, and of course, empower management.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Mo. Really great presentation there. I know a lot of comments have come in on how it's informative and helpful. We had one question come in so far that I've already answered, but I want to make sure everyone hears this answer. I had one question come up about getting these slides, because these slides are super informative, very helpful, and people want to be able to reference them later. Yes, happy to share that after the webinar, hopefully by the end of the week. Sometimes these things take time to process, but by the end of the week, we should be able to send you out a follow-up email thanking you for joining. It'll have a link to our feedback survey, again, just in case you don't get it finished out today. But also, we'll give you links to download the slide deck yourself to be able to reference, as well as to be able to come back and see this recording. You can be able to scrub through, see everything you want from the recording, and hear from Mo all over again. So those resources will be sent to you in an email just by attending today. You'll see it. Bruce, that's a great question. I do see your question in the Q&A. I'm not sure why you're not seeing it, but I see it. So we'll get to it in just a moment here. I haven't ignored your question yet, Bruce. We'll bring it up in just a moment. If you don't receive those follow-up emails, if you've turned off marketing emails for whatever reason, you can always reach out to info@kneat.com, and we will send you your information. Send you that information again, and be able to hear from you. All right. So I want to. Oh, I want to bring up these questions. That's why they haven't showed up yet, is because I haven't accepted them as moderated questions. All right, so Bruce, now it'll start showing up, and I actually want to start with Bruce's question here, so I'll bring it up on the screen. Mo, Bruce asks you to please discuss the differences between cleaning validation and cleaning verification for CDMOs, and how Kneat Gx can help.
Excellent question, Bruce. So cleaning validation and clearing verification. So yep. So cleaning verification can, like from a QC point of view, you're verified that the limits are being met, and a cleaning validation is maybe you perform it along with a process validation. So Kneat can help in terms of from a cleaning validation point of view. Is you might pair that with a process validation. So again, when you're creating those electronic binders, you might pair those documentations together, where you have a process validation, you have process documentations, and you might also have cleaning validation documentations, and then you could and have those corresponding reports. So and when I used to work on CDMO processes, what we'd do is we'd run three processes. You'd run three different batches for a particular intermediate. Then you'd have the cleaning validations for those three batches run back to back as well, just so you allow those to work in together in tandem. So that's one way you could have sort of those electronic binders, have those cleaning validations together in terms of need have occur together. And from a cleaning verification point of view, you might have those in terms of equipment cleanings, or in terms of separated electronic binders where they are better fit for verifying that they're clean. Maybe from a QC point of view, or having a development team have their own workspace dedicated to specific development documents, or clean before starting a batch, you've got verified that it's clean and meets the requirements. Is sort of one scenario that Kneat could help. And of course, when you're working with the Kneat professionals, they do guide you in building your process and help you to make different disciplines to do different activities. For example, if you have a discipline that might be just dedicated to cleaning validation, or a discipline that might be dedicated just to cleaning verification, based on their separation in terms of documentation and how they might be in terms of their workspace.
Excellent. Thank you, Mo. Yeah, all great points. All there on how Kneat Gx can help. And thank you, Bruce, for that question. So next up from S, I want to prioritize the ones with names on here. From S, is the test data collected as part of validation dynamic? Can it be used for trending across different validation studies, for example, or could it be exported to a data lake? Mo, I'm hoping you understand a few more of those terms than I do.
So yes, the data is collected, and we do have a reporting feature that does give you sort of a consolidated view of trending, what's happening for those validation studies. So yep, there's different reporting tools that tell you, hey, we've got a test section report that tells you that outputs this is for this particular test section, this particular test execution, this many test cases have passed, this many have failed, this are NA'd or have issues associated with them. You can also, of course, see that which from a trending point of view, you can see which documents are in test, which are in development, which are in different stages of an execution point of view, or pre-approval or post-approval. And of course, yes, you can export them, and if you want to perform other data analysis or other trends, yes, you can perform them in terms of third-party application, other external applications, Excel or Minitab or something like that. So yes, there is a good, rich reporting feature in terms of Kneat, in terms of what you're executing and performing inside Kneat.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Mo. And a follow-up from Bruce here, going back to Bruce's question. Since we are a CRDMO, we are working on earlier stage projects who are not set up to process validation / cleaning validation. So Mo, I don't know if that changes your answer from earlier at all.
So yeah, again, from a Kneat perspective, you can work at any different stages of process. Maybe you're just putting in development documentation. So different team members, maybe just manufacturing, or different lab scale testing. Again, it doesn't necessarily need to fit in a process validation or a cleaning validation point of view. You can still start out if you're not up to it yet. Maybe in the future you would, and Kneat can grow with you. You can build out different disciplines for cleaning validation, process validation. And right now, maybe you're just in that development stage, and where you're just in the early, maybe you're just scratching the surface of the early stage processes. And again, it's one of those things where it grows with you. You can still start leveraging those benefits and the real-time collaboration, the remote approvals upfront, where it doesn't need to be, you need to be at a particular stage to be able to still take advantage and use Kneat. So it can still grow with you, and you can expand to different projects, different sites once you get started. So
Excellent. Excellent. I'll keep an eye out for any further follow-up from Bruce. But thank you for those questions, Bruce and S. We've got a few anonymous questions in here, so let me go through a couple of them. How does Kneat meet the 21 CFR Part 11 compliance?
Good question. So one of there are multiple ways it meets the 21 CFR Part 11 compliance. It's a validated system, so again, it allows you to produce accurate and reliable results. You've got audit trails. So again, it allows you to electronically record, make who made the changes, when the changes are made. This allows for that data integrity and traceability. Of course, you have electronic signatures that are unique to each individual. They're securely managed, linked to their respective, electronic records, ensure that there's not unauthorized access. And of course, speaking of access, it's all access controlled. So you have strict access control and preventing unauthorized access to those records. And of course, that data integrity and security side of things that I was mentioning earlier in terms of protecting against from a data protection and having data backup and recovery procedures. It's a good question.
Perfect, and a good answer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next one from another anonymous attendee. They say, we're nervous about making the transition to Kneat. What support or guidance will Kneat provide a company making the transition to digital validation? A great question. Go ahead, Mo.
No, absolutely. So, just upfront, as a process engineer, what we do is we'll build your process inside of Kneat. You're not getting some other company's process or some type of standard process. We build your process inside of Kneat. So we work with you during process mapping meetings. We've got a Miro board that fragments out all different parts of Kneat and how we can you start literally by step. And we spend literally weeks and months to create your process, build it inside of Kneat, demo it for you, show you if it works, make changes. Again, there's so many decisions, so many details we go through to make it sure that it's fine tuned to how you do what you need to do in the same way you do it, but of course electronically in a more streamlined, automated way. And of course, Kneat supports you in different stages. From starting off, you get sales and marketing, and when you're involved with the process engineering team, and you have project managers, and even after we build your process inside of Kneat, customized, of course, that fits your needs. There's a customer success manager after the project goes live, and they continue to support you and guide you and provide you discussions on, hey, there's new features coming that could be of benefit for you.
Great. Perfect. Thank you. And speaking of that, talking about new features, we did have a question on what new Kneat feature could make CQV easier and better. Want to elaborate a little bit on that?
Yes, that's a good question as well. So we've got entities. We've got specifically equipment entities. So that's a new feature that could help make CQV easier because what are entities? They're smart folders essentially, and they can give all that necessary information for a particular equipment, the manufacturer, the tag, the serial number. All those details can be put into that smart folder, and all the documents in there can leverage those smart properties when you're drafting it to help make it. And it can be an approved uh, entity and to help you to retain that sort of pre-approved content when you're referencing. They're like all smart library properties that can be used throughout all the documentation within that sort of smart folder. That's a cool new neat feature that helps CQV customers do what they do easier, better. And I just worked with a customer that's very happy in terms of their CQV process, leveraging just this equipment entity feature. So
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you for that reply, Mo, and thank you for that question from Anonymous. We have another follow-up from Bruce here. He brings up an interesting point about Part 11 compliance, saying you can only claim Part 11 readiness or capable since his company's SOPs are part of the compliance to Part 11. Any response to that, Mo?
So of course, if you got other documentation relating to 21 Part 11 compliance, can for that particular SOPs, those can also be added in. But yep, as just from a Kneat's point of view, from what makes Kneat's electronic signatures, those electronic records, audit trails, being validated. So that's what I meant from the 21 Part 11 compliance from a Kneat side of things as well, of course.
Okay, excellent. So we work with we work in tandem in cooperation with every company's compliance standards and
Yes,
SOPs. So
yes,
it's not all on one, it's part of a team effort. So that's a great question and a great point you brought up there, Bruce. Thank you for that.
good question.
We have reached the end of the questions that have been submitted so far, and we're on a great timing to end it out here. We're just about at the 1 hour mark. So Mo, I really appreciate you coming on. Really appreciate you taking the time to answer these questions. If you're a little bit behind the live, don't worry. Still put in your questions. We will follow up with a Kneat representative. Someone will reach out to answer those questions, and we'll get an answer from Mo as well. So feel free to put those questions in. But I do want to say thank you, Mo, and
Thank you.
move on to talking about some of the upcoming events that we have coming up for Kneat. And Bruce, yeah, we'll definitely keep this conversation going, and we should connect offline as well, because those are some good points and some good questions. But I want to talk about upcoming events, upcoming webinars that we have coming up. So every month we do a monthly software demonstration of Kneat Gx. This one is going to be October 23rd, so still a couple weeks out. You can find more information about that in our emails and at kneat.com. And also by following us on social media. We're active on X, formerly Twitter, and most importantly, LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the best place to go to find our events posted, to see our posts updating on any news and happenings at Kneat. So that October demo is coming up on the 23rd, like I mentioned. Then we have Transforming Validation of Automated Systems, a webinar presented by one of our partners, CSV Life Sciences. They're going to be talking about how they've transformed their validation and their automated systems using Kneat Gx. So you won't hear just from us, you'll hear from CSV Life Sciences as a partner of Kneat as well. So that's a great partner showcase webinar that you can join us with. If you want to join us in person, no matter where you are, if you're over in Europe or if you're in North America, we have some events coming up. These are just two of many, many events we have. I know that we are going to be at the ISPE annual in Florida here in the coming week or so. So if you've braved the hurricane and if everything is still safe and happening, you can meet us at ISPE annual conference there in Florida. We have a booth. Come out and say hello. You can also come see us, or you'll see us represented at Kennex Validation and GMP University in Europe. We sponsored their GMP University both in Europe and in North America, the CSV and SA University that's taking place in Washington, D.C., where I'm from, where I'm tuning in from in December. So again, those are just two of many, many events. I don't have enough slide to show all of those. So be sure to follow us on social media and go to kneat.com/news and events for more information on that. So those are our coming webinars. We really appreciate you taking the time to join us today and sticking with us through to the end here. There's QR code will take you to our feedback survey. Like I mentioned, that link will also be in the follow-up email. I've also posted it here in the chat. We really appreciate your feedback. It helps us grow and develop our webinar and virtual events programs to be more catered to what you want to hear about. So let us know what you thought today and what you'd like to hear about in the future by filling out that survey. Again, on behalf of Mo Brar, our process engineer, my name is James Carey. I am the virtual events marketing manager for Kneat.com. And on behalf of everyone here, we really appreciate you joining us again for another Kneat Insights webinar. We hope to see you next time for one of our other webinars, our partner showcase, and our monthly demos. Until then, we hope you have a good time. Stay safe out there, and we'll